your musical mentor. Today I'd like to talk to you about musicianship. This is a topic that is very close to my heart because I really see a lot of musicians not following what I believe is strong musicianship. I looked up, before doing this article, I looked up the definition of musicianship in the dictionary, and the definition I got was very lame, to say the least. The definition I got was musicianship is a noun. It's a skill or artistry in performing music. Now, to me, that is not musicianship at all. I have seen great guitar players that have showed very little signs of musicianship, even though they can play really, really well. They have very strong levels of musicianship. I've also seen some of my students who are only really just beginning that show really high levels of musicianship. I see a lot of young bands that have high levels of musicianship as well. So, what is musicianship? My definition is very broad, and that's probably why it's not in a dictionary. It's because you'd fill up the whole dictionary. If I was to define musicianship in a word, it would be respect. It's respect for your instrument, it's respect for music, it's your respect for your fellow musicians, and even respect for your audience. These are a lot of areas that I find a lot of professional musicians, even amateurs, really failing in sometimes. And some musicians are really good in other areas, not very good in some areas. Guys that I believe have very high levels of musicianship are excellent, all of them. I'm going to give you 3 examples of guys musicians that I think have very high levels of musicianship. That is Tommy Emmanuel. They're probably some of the best musicianship skills I've ever seen. The next would be Billy Joe Armstrong from Green Day. Very high levels of musicianship. And a controversial one, to keep it interesting, is Justin Bieber. I believe that Justin Bieber does have very high levels of musicianship as well. And let me explain as I go through. So, to have a certain degree of musicianship, you have to have respect for music. I don't believe you can have high levels of musicianship liking only one particular style of music. Now, if you like metal and all you listen to is metal, that's fine, but you should really open up your ears to some different sounds, and that's going to improve your metal playing quite a bit. Adding country ideas to your metal riffs will make you totally different than any other metal thing going on at the time. Having an understanding of jazz and putting that into whatever you're into would be phenomenal. Every type of music has something good about it. I really can't appreciate techno that much, but I'm sure there's something, if I really sat down and tried, and to improve my levels of musicianship, if I really sat down and really got and talked to somebody that was really into techno, there'd be something that in that style of music that I could appreciate. Should be able to appreciate something from every style of music. Don't just bag one style of music out. Music is music, and it doesn't matter what you're into, as long as it makes you feel something, that's the most important thing. Next is respect for your instrument. You have to respect your instrument. You do that by changing strings when you need to, getting it serviced when it needs servicing. Don't bash it around. Put it in a case that's convenient for your needs, whether that's a soft case. I usually use a soft case, or a hard case if you're traveling around a lot. That just shows respect for your instrument. And treat it nice. Don't leave it on your guitars, especially in the car, or any wood instrument for that matter, in the car in the hot sun. Don't leave it somewhere where people can steal it. I hear sub-stories of musicians all the time who have had their instrument stolen, and it's only because they haven't looked after it. I've never had a guitar stolen from me. I've been in bands and loading zones in the back of pubs and clubs and things like that, and I've taken very good care of my gear, and nobody would be game enough to steal any of our stuff, because we looked after it, and our drummer was pretty big. So yeah, having respect for your instrument, changing strings, doing all the basic things, it's all the common sense things. It really shows strong levels of musicianship. This is probably one of the areas I find most people lack, is respect for other musicians. I find a lot of musicians will bag out a lot of other musicians for whatever reason. Justin Bieber is somebody that everyone likes to bag out. He's the new kid on the block. He is very young, and if you're not a 12-year-old girl that likes his music, 9 times out of 10 you're going to just bag him out for no real reason. Personally, I can't stand his songs, but he does have high levels of musicianship. He is a young kid who is very talented. He had a dream, had goals, did the required action to achieve his goals, and the results speak for themselves. Now, how is any of that, what he's done, bad? I wish I did that, especially at his age. I wish I could do that now. I think people just look at his success and think he got it easy, but nobody knows how hard he would have had to work to get it and to maintain it. He is taking the world by storm at the moment, but that takes a lot of work. It's not as fun and as glamorous as what MTV makes it out to be. It's a lot of hard work, and for a young boy, a young man I should say, of his age, to be able to handle it is a huge credit to him. And I've never seen him bag out any other musicians. He's really willing to work with a lot of guys that have been in the industry a long time. And I think he does have very high levels of musicianship. I really think he's going to be one to watch in the future, especially if he gets control of his own music. I think that's going to be some of the most brilliant stuff. If his record company could step back a bit and just say, go for it, he'd definitely be one to watch out for. But we're not talking about that, Justin Bieber, anymore. Next level of respect comes down to the audience. This one should be a no-brainer, but a lot of musicians don't think of the audience so much. When you're performing to the audience, and the love of performing live comes from that interaction between you, the artist, and the audience appreciating what you're doing. Now, if you rock up to a gig and you're not in the best state of mind for whatever reason, you're not going to put on a good show, and that's going to show to the audience, and the audience is going to show like to you. They're not going to like what you're doing, because you're just not into it. You're not vibing off it, so they're not vibing off it, and why should they? And they've paid money, or even if it's a free gig, they've wasted their time watching you haphazardly perform your songs, and that's not showing respect for your audience. Again, having your stuff down, having your stuff practiced and rehearsed. The guys that when I go see a concert, I hardly ever see any mistakes. And you don't see any mistakes because they have the respect for the audience. If they make a lot of mistakes and it's obvious that they haven't rehearsed that much, they don't have high levels of musicianship in my books, and really have a lot to learn, no matter how long they've been in the industry. You should always put the audience first, always. That's what playing music live is all about. It's not really about... I love it. I love the feeling of it, but it's all about playing for the audience. That's about all we've got time for at the moment, but I do have to say a special word to this guitar. This guitar came into the shop 2 days ago. We are all drooling over this one. This is really a special guitar. It is a Tanglewood. I'm not quite sure of the model. It's TRSFCE. It's got the B-band pickups, which is one of the best acoustic pickups that you can get. It's a lot better than the Fishman stuff, in my opinion. It's active. It's a weirder, smaller shape, which is what I prefer. If you've seen my other guitar, my air guitar, it's a similar sort of shape. It's a bit smaller. And I love this guitar just as much as my airs, and I dare say I might be going home. But we're selling in the shop at the moment, so you can beat me to it. video, I'll definitely do a really good price on it if I haven't taken one. If so, you can order one and I'll still do it for a special price. Yeah, well, I'm Chris McGuire, your musical mentor, and look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks.